Hey guys, welcome back to AlgoYogi. We are doing two pointers series. Next problem in the list is reverse words in a string third. Let's go to the problem LeetCode. So given a string S, reverse the order of characters in each word within a sentence while still preserving the white spaces and initial word order. Very careful when you are reading this. Sometimes you mistake it, but examples will clear everything here for us. So first example, let's take LeetCode contest, right? So the output for this string, you gotta reverse each word, just the words, not the entire string. We are only reversing each word while still maintaining the order. So first word is let's. This is a complete word. Then after reversing it, we have S, and then this apostrophe, and then TEL. Then take becomes ikat. LeetCode becomes edoctil. And contest become tisiknok. This is kind of fun, okay? And second example, Mr. Ding becomes Rumginid. Rumginid. Whatever. I don't know why they're asking us to do this. Does it have any practical thing in the world? Like why would they ask us to reverse each word of this one sentence? Completely mental problem. No use in the world, okay? We don't use it. We don't have a use of it in our life. But because they asked it, it's definitely solvable, and we're going to solve it right now. Let's take a look how we're going to do it. So this is our example. Hello, Summer. Summer is about to be here, so hi, Summer. My favorite weather. Kind of not. I love winter. But anyway, so in order to reverse each word, so we're going to start reversing our string. We're going to start reversing our string, and what we're going to do, we will have a pointer I, and that's what we are traversing. And first time when we come across that's not a white space, then we create another pointer. So let's say my I is pointing over here, and when I come across, I'm going to start a while loop, and I come across that it's basically pointing to a not white space character. Basically, it's an actual character, not a white space. So what I'll do, I'll assign another pointer J, and what I'll do, I'll keep going forward until my J finds another white space, right? So what will happen, my J will now be pointing to white space, and then what I'm going to do is take this string from I to J minus 1. By the way, I can take J itself, but I'm just saying like J minus 1, although don't fall for this. I'm just saying it will be easy for us to just swap the values of S rather than of the string, rather than basically taking some portion of the string and reversing it. So we'll basically use our S to create a list of these characters, and then we play around with these pointers to swap those values. And then we will just swap this, and finally we will have olich, this, right? And then at this point, when we come out of this another while loop, and we have reversed this, we'll write a helper function to reverse this. We have already done a couple of problems reversing strings earlier, so that will be useful. We'll create a helper function to reverse this. Then we will assign J plus 1 to basically our I. So now my I will point over here, and then J is also pointing over here. Okay, my J is also pointing over here. And then I can, basically J doesn't have to be anywhere, because J gets reassigned again when we are running this on our next ith character. All right, so I think it's gonna be quite easy. This is gonna this time do summer exclamation mark, so it will become REMMUS. all right, and this will be our output. Okay, let's write down. It's gonna be easy peasy code. Coding. Let's move it here. Focus on the code. Very focus. We are very focused on writing the code. Okay, it's a simple problem. Simple. Okay, first thing first, let's write a reverse function that has like left and right, and then while left is smaller than right, then we just swap the value of SL to SR, and then SR to SL. Okay, so SL is taking the value of SR, and Python allows us to do it, so let's make use of it, and like this. And then L, basically L is incremented and R is decremented. Okay, that's it. We don't need to do anything. Then let's just convert. Okay, you know what, this we should have done it in the beginning, but anyway, we can write it over. That's an inner function, so it doesn't really matter. So let's convert S to a character of array, so that it's easy to basically change these values in place, whatever we are doing with this, you know, one word, reversing it. So I think on a basically performing these operations on a list is better than working with a string, because it's they're called non-mutable. Strings are non-mutable, so it means that in memory they will be basically assigned to a new location, and after making all the changes to the previous string, and this string will be returned from the new location. That's what we don't really want, because that's it's expensive, you know, in terms of memory. This is easier. Working with an array is easier if you're doing in place swapping of these index values, right? So now have our I pointer pointing to 0, and then start a while loop while I is lesser than the length of my s. All right, and then if I come across a character that's not white space, so if si is not pointing to white space, that means what? We're gonna start my j pointer from here and go until I find the next white space, so that I find this entire word, and then I'll call my reverse function on that word, which will be reversed in place in my string s, array s, and then I move on to the next word. Okay, so here I will take assign I to j, and while j is lesser than length of s, that's one thing, and my sj is not pointing to white space, so that means it's pointing to a word. Okay, until then I'll just keep moving my j pointer. When I come out, it's pointing to a white space, and now I just need to reverse. Let's call reverse function over here, and then we're gonna reverse this string starting at I and going until j minus 1. Why j minus 1? Because we are doing it in place. And it's only right now it will be pointing to a white space. White space is not included in the string that we want to reverse. Okay, white space remains intact. That was in the definition of the problem. And after that, let's just assign j plus 1 to my I, and that's because j is right now pointing to a white space, and we want to start from the next index. Okay, white space that j is pointing to remains intact over there. We're not going to do anything with that. And finally we come out of here, and we just return. Now we return, this is what we have, and now we can simply just return this delimiter is gonna join all the words of S. Okay, so I think that's it. Let's run it on example. Let me zoom out before we do that. And I think we are not missing anything else. Inner function, this is it. J is assigned over here until we basically find another white space. We keep moving forward, and then we find this word, we reverse it, and then we move on to the next word. And then we finally return S joined by an empty delimiter. All right, so let's run it on examples, test cases. And we have a little problem, and that was because it's not this, it's while L is lesser than R. Sometimes it's just a typo, and let's submit it. Awesome blossoms. Let's write the time complexity. Time complexity is going to be big of N, right? Because once we start at I, we are basically moving, we are only visiting each character in S only one time. Okay, I know, I think here we are kind of visiting it again, but that's happening outside of this while loop, right? And then finally, also, by the way, this while loop and this while loop, they're not always, if there are two nested while loops, remember this, not always the time complexity is going to be n square. You know why? Because I'm using this while loop just so that I can process the next word, okay, right now. And this is the main loop that's basically visiting each word, checking if I am basically visiting a non-white space character. And I take that. Once that's done, see here, my I does not increment by 1. If it was incrementing by 1, that means we could have had the time complexity of big of n square. But this time, I is completely assigned, right wherever my current word ended. So it's not doing anything extra, it's just a way of keeping track that what's the beginning of the word, okay? The real traveler here, real iterator is the pointer J. All right, I think it's very important to mention to your interviewers. Sometimes they try to confuse you that, oh, why you have two while loops and you're saying the time complexity is big of n. I mean, dude, come on. Space complexity, we are doing everything in place, but really when we created this, then we kind of did big of n. All right. Otherwise, if they had given us this array themselves, then I think it would be big of 1. But right now we are using list just for our, efficiency. All right, then I think we submitted it. So let's go back to AlgoYogi, mark this problem solved, and see you guys in the next problem. Until then, bye-bye.